The sun was soft and golden that afternoon, spreading its warm light across the small neighborhood park. Children ran in every direction, their laughter echoing between the slides and swings. The smell of freshly cut grass floated in the air, and the sound of squeaky swings creaking back and forth mixed with happy chatter. It was a normal, cheerful day, at least for most kids. Noah sat quietly at the edge of the sandbox, his knees pulled to his chest, watching the chaos of play unfold like a movie. He wasn't like the other kids who shouted and chased each other. He preferred to observe. He noticed things others didn't, like how one boy always pretended to be brave but secretly avoided the taller slide, or how a little girl always gave her turn to someone else before taking her own. That's why he was the first to notice her. She was small, maybe 5 or 6 years old, sitting alone on the faded wooden bench near the swings. Her shoes dangled far above the ground, not even close to touching it. She wasn't playing. Her head was bowed low, her little shoulders shaking slightly. Noah squinted, curious. In her arms, she held a stuffed bunny with one floppy ear and a missing button eye. The toy hung limply, its stitched smile crooked and torn. Noah tilted his head. He could see the shine of tears on her cheeks catching the sunlight. Everyone else ran right past her, busy with their games, but she sat perfectly still, as if time had forgotten her. Something about it tugged at Noah's heart like a string. He didn't know her name. He didn't know why she was sad. But he knew what it felt like to be invisible. That feeling of sitting alone while everyone else laughed. It made his chest ache just thinking about it. He stood up slowly, brushing sand from his shorts, and walked toward her, each step quiet like he was afraid to scare her away. When he got close, he stopped a few feet away. She didn't look up. Her small fingers were desperately trying to push the bunny's ear back into place, but it flopped down again like a broken wing. Her lip trembled. Noah took a tiny breath. "Hi," he said softly. She blinked and turned her head just enough to see him. Her eyes were red from crying. She didn't answer, just stared at him, clutching the toy tighter. Is it broken?" Noah asked gently, pointing at the bunny. She nodded once, not speaking. A tear slipped down her cheek and landed on the bunny's fur. Noah hesitated. He had never fixed a stuffed toy before. But he didn't like seeing her cry. He thought for a moment, then slowly sat down on the bench next to her. She stiffened at first but didn't move away. Maybe I can try," he whispered. She frowned slightly, confused. "Fix it," he added quickly. "I can try to fix it." For a moment she just looked at him, like she wasn't sure if she could trust him. Then she slowly held out the bunny. Her small hands trembled as she passed it over, as though she was giving away something more precious than gold. Noah took it carefully like it was made of glass. Up close, he could see that the stitching on the ear had come loose and the button eye was hanging by a thin thread. He rummaged through his pockets and found a paper clip, a piece of tape, and a red marker. Not much, but he was used to fixing things with nothing. He gently twisted the paper clip straight and used its sharp tip to thread the loose string back through the fabric. His tongue stuck out slightly in concentration as he tied it into a tiny knot. The ears stood upright again, not perfect but no longer floppy. Then he wrapped a bit of tape around the back of the button eye to keep it from falling out, and finally, with a flourish, he used the red marker to draw a tiny heart on the bunny's belly. "There," he said, holding it out to her. "All fixed." The little girl's eyes widened. She took the bunny slowly, almost in disbelief. She turned it around in her hands, touching the repaired ear, the taped eye, and the little red heart. For a long second she said nothing. Then her lips curved upward into the smallest, most fragile smile. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice was tiny, like a bell in the wind. Noah smiled back, feeling a warm glow spread through his chest. She hugged the bunny tight against her heart, and to his surprise, she also leaned forward and wrapped her arms around him. It was quick, shy, and clumsy, but it was a real hug. He froze for a second, then slowly hugged her back, gentle as he could. When she pulled away, her cheeks were no longer wet. Her eyes sparkled now, the sadness replaced by something bright and new. She hopped down from the bench and ran toward the swings, her bunny bouncing happily in her hands. Noah sat there watching her, the corners of his mouth lifting without him even realizing. The park hadn't changed, the sun was still warm, the grass still smelled sweet, the kids still laughed, but something inside him had shifted. He had only fixed a toy. Yet somehow it felt like he had fixed something much bigger. Noah stayed on the bench a while after Lily ran off, still feeling the warmth of her tiny hug lingering like sunlight on his shirt. The sound of her laughter on the swing felt different from the other children's. It was lighter, brighter, like it was made of relief. He didn't know why, but that sound made him want to keep sitting there, just in case the bunny's ear drooped again or the button I fell off. He watched her play, quietly smiling. He didn't know her name yet. She was just the girl with the bunny in his mind, and somehow that felt important enough. Eventually, Lily's mother called her over from the swings. She ran back to the bench to grab her little backpack. As she passed Noah, she slowed down and gave him a shy wave. He waved back awkwardly, his face turning a bit red. And just like that, she was gone, skipping toward her mother, clutching her bunny like a priceless treasure. Noah went home thinking about her. He kept picturing her tears turning into that smile. It felt like magic, even though it was only tape, string, and a red heart drawn with a marker. He didn't know why something so small made him feel so full inside. That night, he sat on his bedroom floor surrounded by random little objects. Paper clips, rubber bands, bottle caps, and scraps of fabric he had collected over the years. He had always liked fixing broken things, but this time felt different. He wasn't fixing something just to make it work again, he was fixing something to make someone happy. And that made everything about it feel bigger somehow. As he sorted through his little repair kit, an idea started forming in his mind. What if the bunny broke again? He imagined Lily crying alone on that bench all over again. He didn't want that to happen. So he decided to build a proper repair kit just for toys. He found an old metal lunchbox in his closet and began carefully filling it. Needle and thread from his mom's sewing basket, spare buttons, strong tape, colored markers, and tiny scissors. He even added a few patches shaped like stars and hearts. He wrote "Fix It Box" on the lid with bold letters. He didn't tell anyone what he was doing. It felt like a secret mission. The next afternoon, Noah returned to the park with the Fix-It box in his backpack. He sat on the same bench as before, quietly watching kids run around. He felt nervous, like he was waiting for something but didn't know what. And then he saw her. Lily came skipping through the gate holding her bunny tightly, but this time something was different. There was a small rip on the bunny's foot where the stuffing peeked out. She walked slower than the other kids, looking worried. Noah stood up and walked over. "Hi," he said softly. Lily looked up and recognized him right away. Her eyes brightened. "You fixed him," she said, holding up the bunny. "He's happy now, but he got hurt again." She pointed to the torn foot. Noah knelt down so they were at the same level. "I can fix him again," he said gently. Lily's smile returned, small but trusting. She followed Noah to the bench and sat next to him, legs swinging off the edge. Noah opened the Fix-It box like it was a treasure chest. Lily gasped a little at all the colorful patches and threads inside. "Wow," she whispered. Noah picked out a small blue star patch. "This can go on his foot," he explained, "like a magic bandage. It'll make him stronger." She nodded seriously as if he were a real doctor and the bunny was her patient. Noah carefully threaded a needle, his tongue sticking out in concentration again. He stitched the patch over the hole, pulling the thread gently, making sure not to hurt the toy. Lily watched every movement, holding her breath. When he finished, he tied a tiny knot and snipped the thread. "There," he said softly, handing the bunny back to her. "Stronger than before." Lily examined it, her eyes wide. The bright blue star stood out against the bunny's worn fabric. "He's a superhero now," she said seriously. Noah smiled. "Super bunny." She giggled, hugging the toy tightly. "Thank you." Her voice was stronger this time, more confident, like fixing the bunny fixed something inside her too. She looked at Noah for a long second and then said quietly, "You're kind." Noah felt something warm bloom in his chest again, like sunlight. He didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. Lily jumped down from the bench and ran to the sandbox, Super Bunny flying in her hands like he had wings. Noah watched her go, his heart lighter than air. He didn't realize it then, but other people had been watching too. A mother on a nearby bench whispered something to another parent, both of them smiling softly at Noah. A boy on the slide paused to look over, curiosity in his eyes. Noah didn't notice any of it. He only saw Lily laughing, running in the sunlight, her bunny patched and whole again. In that moment, fixing toys didn't feel like just fixing toys. It felt like repairing pieces of someone's heart. He didn't know it yet, but that quiet act on a quiet bench would soon ripple far beyond the park. The next few days at the park felt different, though Noah couldn't quite explain how. The sun still warmed the same patchy grass, the swings still creaked, and the same group of kids raced down the slides. But something invisible had shifted, like a soft secret hiding in the air. Every afternoon, Noah quietly made his way to the old wooden bench with the Fix-It box tucked neatly in his backpack. He didn't tell anyone why he came, but deep down he knew. Part of him was waiting, not for just anyone but for her. And almost like magic she came. Lily skipped into the park wearing a yellow dress that fluttered like sunshine around her knees. Her tiny shoes tapped the pavement in quick happy beats. In her arms, Super Bunny bounced up and down, his patched foot catching glimmers of sunlight like a badge of bravery. She spotted him right away. Her whole face lit up like a lantern. "Noah!" she shouted across the park, her voice ringing with excitement. Noah froze. No one ever said his name like that, like it was something wonderful. He raised his hand shyly in a wave. Lily ran full speed to the bench and stopped just in front of him, slightly out of breath, holding up Super Bunny like a trophy. "Look. He's still strong," she said proudly. Noah nodded, feeling an unexpected smile tugging at his face. "He looks happy." "He is," Lily said seriously. "And I am too." For a moment they just sat there smiling at each other, and the world around them seemed to soften. It was as if everything, the laughter, the noise, the rushing kids, faded into a quiet bubble around the two of them. Then Lily did something that surprised Noah. She sat down beside him and gently placed Super Bunny on the bench between them. "Do you like fixing things?" she asked, tilting her head. Noah thought about it. "I think so," he said slowly. "Broken things make me sad. I like making them better." Lily nodded as if this made perfect sense. "I like making people happy," she said. "Because when people are happy they smile. And smiles make everything look brighter." Something about the way she said it made Noah's chest feel warm, like she was giving him a piece of her sunshine to carry. They spent the afternoon together. Lily showed him how Super Bunny could fly, if she spun fast enough, and Noah showed her how to use the colored patches in his fix-it box. She carefully stuck a tiny purple heart on Super Bunny's ear just because she said, "Every hero needs love power." Around them, parents watched with soft smiles. A few kids slowed down their play just to glance at the quiet boy and the cheerful little girl sitting side by side like they had known each other forever. By the time the sky turned orange and the shadows grew long, something had changed between them. They weren't just strangers anymore. They were something more, not quite friends yet, but something strong, something that felt like it had always been meant to exist. When Lily's mom called her name from the park gate, Lily stood reluctantly. She hugged Super Bunny close, then did something even braver than when she had handed him over broken the first time. She looked Noah in the eyes and said, "Will you be here tomorrow?" Noah blinked. He had never had anyone ask him that before. He nodded slowly. Lily smiled so wide her eyes almost disappeared. "Good," she said, and then she ran off, turning to wave once more before disappearing through the gate. Noah sat on the bench long after she was gone. The park grew quiet around him. He could still hear her voice in his head. "Will you be here tomorrow?" It echoed softly like a promise. That night he couldn't stop thinking about her. Not just her smile or her sunshine dress or the way her laughter made everything feel lighter, but the way she had looked at him. Like he mattered. Like fixing a broken toy wasn't something small, but something big, something brave. And far away in a small cozy house, Lily was lying in bed hugging Super Bunny to her chest, telling her mom about the kind boy who can fix anything. Neither of them knew it yet, but that tiny spark of connection, between a quiet boy with a fix-it box and a little girl with a once-broken bunny, was about to ripple far beyond the park. It would change not just their days but their whole worlds. They thought they were just two kids who happened to meet on a wooden bench. They didn't know yet they had just started something extraordinary. The next day began just like any other, soft sunshine spilling over rooftops, birds chattering from the power lines, and sleepy streets slowly waking up. But something invisible was already moving through the world, like a quiet breeze carrying a secret. Noah didn't know it yet. He woke up early, pulling on his faded hoodie and slipping the fix-it box carefully into his backpack. His mom called after him as he left for the park, but he only smiled and waved, too shy to explain why he suddenly had somewhere important to be every afternoon. When he reached the old wooden bench, he sat down and waited. His feet swung gently above the gravel path. The park was still empty, just the sound of the swings creaking in the breeze. He didn't mind waiting. Something about sitting there now felt special, like the bench belonged to him and Lily, like a tiny island just for the two of them. Minutes passed. Then voices began to fill the park. Children shouting, parents chatting, dogs barking. And then, through the chatter, Noah heard the quick patter of feet he knew by heart already. Lily. She came running, her yellow dress fluttering like sunshine again, Super Bunny flying beside her on its patched blue star foot. "You came," she shouted. "You too," Noah said softly, and they both smiled. They spent the afternoon laughing. Lily brought a small toy car with a missing wheel, and Noah fixed it carefully while she watched in amazement. Then a younger boy came over, curious, holding a broken spinning top. Noah fixed that too. Soon, 3 more kids appeared, clutching their own tiny treasures. A doll with tangled hair, a toy robot missing an arm, a stuffed giraffe with a ripped neck. Noah didn't say much, but his hands moved gently, patiently, like he had done this all his life. And every time he handed back a toy, a smile bloomed like a flower on a child's face. Parents watched from the benches, whispering to each other, their phones raised to quietly record what they were seeing. A quiet boy fixing broken toys for children who came to him like he was some kind of gentle magician. One mother, Lily's mom, took a photo of Noah kneeling on the grass with his fix-it box open and Lily sitting beside him with her hands folded like a proud assistant. That evening, she posted the photo on her social media with a short caption. "This boy fixed my daughter's favorite toy bunny when she was heartbroken. Today he fixed toys for 5 more kids. Kindness is still real." She didn't expect much. She just wanted to remember the moment. But something strange happened overnight. The post caught fire. First a few friends liked it. Then their friends shared it. By midnight, strangers were commenting from other cities. By morning, thousands of people had liked and shared it. The photo of Noah with his fix-it box and Lily with her patched bunny spread across timelines like sunlight flooding dark rooms. People wrote comments like, "We need more kids like him. This is what real heroes look like." One small act can mean the world to someone. Some parents said it made them cry. Some said it made them want to be better. Some said they were going to hug their kids and tell them how much they were loved. By the time Noah woke up the next day, the post had gone viral. He didn't know it, of course. He just brushed his teeth, packed his fix-it box, and walked quietly to the park like always. He had no idea the whole town was now looking for the kind boy on the bench. But others knew. Parents whispered to each other as they passed the playground. Local news reporters had seen the post and were asking who he was. Someone even printed the photo and taped it to the community bulletin board with the words, "Let's find this boy." And while all this was happening, while thousands of strangers typed words about him and reshared his photo, Noah was simply sitting on the same wooden bench, smiling shyly as Lily handed him a toy giraffe that needed a new smile drawn on its face. He wasn't chasing fame. He didn't even know fame was creeping toward him like a quiet wave. All he knew was that fixing broken toys made Lily smile, and that was enough. But the world had already started whispering his name. What began as one small kindness between 2 children was no longer just theirs. It was becoming something much bigger, something powerful, something unstoppable. And Noah, the quiet boy on the bench, was about to find out what happens when a simple act of love ripples out farther than anyone could ever imagine. By the time the sun rose the next day, something incredible had already begun. The photo of Noah and Lily had escaped the small corners of the internet and flowed into the wider world like sunlight spilling over a horizon. What had been just a quiet afternoon on an old park bench was now becoming the heartbeat of a movement. Noah, though, knew nothing about it. He woke up the same as always, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, brushing his messy hair with his fingers, and slipping the fix-it box into his backpack like a secret treasure. He didn't check phones or news, he didn't even have a phone. His world was simple. The bench, the park, and the small spark of happiness that lit up Lily's face whenever he fixed something. But other people were no longer so quiet. Across town, shopkeepers opened their stores while whispering about the boy from the photo. Parents on their morning school runs spoke of how kind he was. Teachers mentioned him to their students, using his story as an example of how one small gesture can make a big difference. Even the librarian placed a printout of the photo on the community notice board with a handwritten message underneath. Be the reason someone smiles today, like this boy. And then something magical happened. When Noah and Lily sat together on their bench that afternoon, kids didn't just wander over one by one anymore. They lined up. A neat, giggling line of children stood holding broken things. A stuffed bear with one arm missing, a yo-yo tangled into knots, a toy car with wheels that wouldn't spin, even a cracked plastic crown. Lily's eyes grew huge. "They all came to you," she whispered. Noah blinked, startled, but he nodded slowly and opened the fix-it box. His hands moved carefully, gently, and patiently. He mended the bear's arm with a red star patch, untangled the yo-yo with a soft grin, popped the car's wheels back into place, and glued the cracked crown like it was made of diamonds. With each fixed toy, another smile blossomed. With each smile, another parent secretly snapped a photo. Soon it wasn't just children. Grown-ups began approaching too, not with toys but with offers. A local craft store owner donated a small sewing kit. A hardware shop sent over a box of glue sticks and safety scissors. One elderly man even gave Noah a small foldable table so he wouldn't have to kneel on the ground anymore. "This is yours now," the man said with a twinkle in his eye. "Every hero needs a workshop." Noah blushed scarlet but whispered, "Thank you." Lily beamed beside him, her small hands busy arranging the supplies like an assistant in a real toy repair shop. It was like the park had transformed around them. The bench was no longer just a bench. It had become something magical, a tiny corner of hope. And word kept spreading. Schools began collecting and used toys from students and bringing them to the park for Noah to fix and donate to children who had none. Parents started calling it Noah's Corner, as if it were an official place. Kids began leaving notes tied to toys that read things like, "Please help me smile again," or "Make her happy." Even the local newspaper arrived, snapping pictures while Noah worked silently, his head bent over a doll's tangled hair. The reporter knelt down to ask, "Why do you do this, Noah?" Noah paused, thinking. He glanced at Lily, who smiled at him with eyes full of sunlight, and then at the toy in his hands. "Because broken things deserve another chance," he said quietly. The reporter's eyes softened. That line would appear on the front page the next morning, printed in bold letters above Noah's picture. Because broken things deserve another chance. People clipped it from the paper and taped it to their fridges. Teachers read it aloud in classrooms. Strangers who had never set foot in the park suddenly wanted to visit just to see the boy who fixes broken things. And through all of it, Noah stayed the same, soft-spoken, gentle, smiling only when he handed a toy back and saw happiness spark in someone's eyes. But around him, the town was changing. Shops started collecting donations for kids in need. Families began sharing old toys instead of throwing them away. Strangers greeted each other a little more warmly, a little less hurried. One small act of kindness had grown like ripples in water, touching people Noah had never met. And though he didn't know it yet, this was just the beginning. Because while Noah was quietly repairing toys at his little bench, something even bigger was coming. Something he never dreamed could happen. The world was about to know his name. Days passed, and Noah's small corner in the park had become something magical. Children came running every afternoon with broken toys in their hands and hope in their eyes. Parents stood nearby smiling softly, sometimes wiping away happy tears as they watched their kids leave with toys as good as new. The town had wrapped Noah in love and pride, and yet, he still felt like the same quiet boy with old sneakers and a heart full of invisible dreams. But one chilly morning, everything changed again. This time in a way that even the mayor couldn't have imagined. Noah was crouched on the grass, fixing the wheel of a toy fire truck for a toddler, when a shadow fell across the sunlight. It wasn't the familiar shadow of a neighbor or friend. It was long and unfamiliar. He glanced up. A tall woman stood there, dressed in a crisp navy coat, her hair tied neatly, her smile warm but professional. She held a slim black folder against her chest and wore a badge on her lapel with a name in shiny gold letters. "Are you Noah?" she asked gently. Noah blinked, hesitating. Yes." She crouched down, her voice soft. "My name is Emily Hart. I work for the World Children's Foundation. We saw your story." Lily, sitting nearby coloring a picture of her bunny, froze with her crayon midair. Her eyes went wide. "The World Children's, what?" Emily smiled. "The World Children's Foundation. We help kids around the globe get access to toys, education, and hope. And Noah," she opened her black folder carefully, "we want you to join us." Noah's mouth opened, then closed again. "Join you?" "Yes," Emily said warmly. "We want to build something bigger, something inspired by you. We call it the Noah Project. We'll build small toy repair corners like yours in parks all over the world. Each one will carry your name. You'd be our youngest ambassador." Noah's hands trembled as he set down the fire truck. The air felt suddenly too big, too bright, like the whole sky was listening. I'm just a boy," he whispered. Emily nodded kindly. "And yet you've done more than many grown-ups ever do. You reminded the world how powerful kindness can be." Lily's eyes sparkled. "They want to make more Noahs," she said breathlessly. Emily chuckled. "Yes. We want to take your heart and let it light up other hearts." Noah stared at the papers she gently slid across the bench. His name was printed there in bold letters, surrounded by bright cartoon stars. There were drawings of tiny colorful booths labeled Noah's Corner, planned for places like Brazil, India, Kenya, and Japan. Places he had only seen on maps at school. "Would I have to leave?" he asked softly, almost afraid of the answer. "Not yet," Emily assured him. "You'll stay right here. We'll send helpers to learn from you and you can guide them from your park. You'll still be Noah, just with a much bigger family. The thought made his chest ache in a way he couldn't explain. A bigger family. More children smiling. More broken toys finding life again. He had never dreamed something so huge could grow from something so small. A small hand slipped into his. Lily. Say yes, she whispered, eyes bright like stars. Please? Noah swallowed hard and nodded. Okay, I'll try. Emily's face lit up like sunshine. Wonderful. You've just changed the world, Noah. And just like that, the park erupted again. People clapped, children cheered, and Lily hugged him so tightly he almost fell backward off the bench. The mayor came rushing from across the field when he heard the news. The local news crews arrived within the hour, buzzing with excitement. That night, the headline on every channel read, "Local boy's kindness goes global." But Noah's favorite part came quietly hours later, when the crowds had gone and the sun had melted behind the rooftops. He and Lily sat on their old bench again, just the two of them, legs swinging. Between them lay the signed papers, glowing faintly in the lamplight. Are you scared? Lily asked softly. Maybe a little, Noah admitted. Me too, she said. But in a good way. Like, how your tummy flips before a big roller coaster. Noah laughed gently, nodding. That was exactly how it felt. Do you think kids really need me? He asked after a long pause. Lily didn't even look up from her bunny. They don't just need you, she said firmly. They need someone to remind them that people care. And you always care. Her words settled over him like a warm blanket. For the first time, Noah didn't just feel like a boy fixing toys. He felt like a spark, something tiny but bright enough to light other sparks. And though he didn't know what the future would look like, he knew one thing with quiet certainty. Wherever there was a broken toy or a lonely child or a heart that needed hope, his kindness would find a way to reach them.